Hey, loves, how are you? I've really been contemplating on what to talk to you about today, but there's so much different energy shifting as we're closing out 2023 and preparing to move into 2024. I decided to just open up and see what wants to come through, what's going to be the most beneficial for all of you. But super fast, I would love your feedback. I got some new lighting. I got a new mic. I still have it a little bit far because you guys know I talk with my hands if you watch me at all. So I still need a little bit of space, but I would like your feedback. How does it look? Does it look better? Does it sound better? We're always trying to make some improvements for our connection. So I would appreciate your feedback. And for those of you who have given me some, thank you. All right. So we're just gonna check in and see what's up. So right out of the gate, I have this Ten of Pentacles, this Six of Swords, and the King of Wands. And the reason I'm bringing them all up together is because I feel like they're kind of all working together and all connected within the energies that we're processing right now. And it's this contemplation of really embodying this physical world in a way that we're wanting to bring forward the new energies in our dreams. There's a current energy of really allowing ourselves to come up shore and be pulled into the new energy, into the new year, into the new earth vibes. But you can tell there's still a bit of transitionary energy that's occurring. And with this King of Wands, it's speaking to me, it's bringing me back to the divine masculine stability energy. And I'm going to drop that in the comments for any of you who haven't seen that video, because I know a lot of you who are here, especially new people, you may have probably found the channel through the divine feminine surrender video, but a very important partner to that video is the divine masculine stability energy. And this really is about that internal union energy. And this red, right, is really sticking out to me right now because our stability, our roots, our root chakra, grounding down into the earth, grounding down into our body is where we stabilize. And really, in my impression and understanding and experience, it's a really important part of our evolutionary ascension process to be able to embody all of our aspects as much as possible, right? Our inner union is, yes, about the masculine and feminine internal essences for those of you who resonate with that path and were initiated into your awakening through that process. But even if it's not for you about that internal masculine and feminine focus, it still really is truly about embracing all of who we are and embodying all of our aspects, even some of the uncomfortable ones or the ones that we didn't know about. The more that we can embrace all of our aspects, the easier it will become to feel more comfortable embodying and stabilizing ourselves onto the earth. And as I'm saying that, there is another message that's coming to my mind around this Ten of Pentacles energy. And it's a vision that I've been working with myself over a few years, but I've spoke with multiple of you about it just this week in session. And it's like when you have this vision, but maybe it's not all coming together in the physical world, there are those places and spaces where we are being called into surrender and allowing ourselves to step out into our lives in blind faith. Okay. In that internal knowing and internal trust of knowing and building this muscle. If you're not there yet, this is about building that muscle with trusting and having faith in your higher power in working in tandem with your physical human logic, right? So your intuition and your logic working in harmony together. Okay. But it can be intense to do sometimes because we grew up and we're raised in a world that taught us that logic was more valuable than intuition. But in truth, working with both together is where our true power actually lives. And when we learn to work with both of them, and you come into that internal union, building the muscle to trust your intuition, what happens is this beautiful ignition of knowing how to marry the logic, because we're still working and living on this planet, with the intuition. So, but sometimes our intuition has a higher perspective that our physical world logic isn't capable of providing us in those moments. So if our logical side is open to trusting our higher power, this is why I want to do the higher self series, so that we can really learn those tips and tricks and ways to begin to build that inner trust or strengthen it, right? Because no matter how long we've been using it or working with it, this is still an important part of what we're learning how to do right now. Embody all of who we are: soul, heart, human, our emotions, our physical thoughts, our logic, our intuition, our inner child, our masculine, our feminine, our light, our dark, all of those things, even more, right? It's just all of who we are, but we haven't been able to safely do that in the past. And in fact, we were taught to suppress our higher power and our intuition, because that's actually where a lot of our power lives. In a logical sense, we do need our logic to function and stay safe and stable. But if we're only moving from that, it actually severely limits our ability to make moves and create the life that we want. And this is bringing me back again to this part of the message, where what a lot of us have been doing, or you may be in the process of, and maybe you're not realizing it, is that you're awakening all of these parts of yourself, remembering these parts of yourself, remembering truly who you are and what your abilities are. Maybe you're just scratching the surface. Maybe some of your abilities kind of make you a little bit nervous because you haven't learned how to work with those yet. That's why I'm here to support you through those processes. But also, when we are moving into this new way of being and we're creating a new foundation in the new energy, we're essentially rewriting the foundation of all of the aspects of our life. We're rewriting our physical health, our emotional health, our spiritual health, our financial health, our relationships, our purpose, our career, our we're kind of rewriting them, not to get rid of what they were, but to actually include the true embodiment of the energy that's going to allow us to build a firm, solid foundation in the new energy versus the faulty foundations that we were growing up in. And what I mean by that is, we were raised or growing up in a society that told us certain things were going to provide us with happiness, or that we had to do certain things a certain way in order to be acceptable in society's standards. But in truth, most of it was designed to keep us pretty squished and pretty enslaved in a very small pocket of our potential. We're significantly more intelligent than what we've been led to believe. There is a lot more inside of us, in our emotional intelligence and our physical intelligence and our true, genuine, sovereign intelligence knows exactly what you need. It's just that you've been taught to deny and suppress and not listen to that. But as we're transmuting those energies and pulling in the truth of what we want from the higher energies, what's happening is we're transmuting and embodying simultaneously. But that's very smart, because what we're doing is we're taking down the old while we are building the new, versus just destroying everything and then being homeless, right? We're going through this process, which sometimes may seem difficult, but it's actually a lot more gentle of a way to go about a transformational process, because it's allowing us to still live and care for ourselves and maintain some semblance of a life and relationships as we're learning. But it also gives us that learning playground to realize what it is that we do and don't want, right? So we're taking out the pieces that we no longer want and we're adding in the ones that are new. We're upgrading what we used to know with what our potential is. And so what is happening is we're pulling in the pieces of our foundation in a new way. And if you want to think of it in a visual sort of perspective, it's like if you had a puzzle, right? Say 1,000-piece puzzle in front of you, right? And you got to see a snippet of the box. You got to see what the finished product looks like, but then somebody takes the box away and just gives you the whole pile of pieces. So you're sitting there at the table with all of these 1,000 pieces and only a fragment of a quick memory, a flash of a photogenic memory that you're going to work your puzzle from. Okay. So that's a big job. Without that box, you have to try to sort through that just from your memory, just from a soul perspective, okay, of what we remember from our soul purpose. But you're just there with only the pieces, and you sometimes don't have all of the pieces, but you're gathering your pieces as you're moving along. Some of those pieces might be to the wrong puzzle. So as you find those, they might look odd or different, and you put them to the side. Some of them might sneak in there for a while until you sort through it. That's okay. You just keep going. You keep asking for the truth. You keep asking for clarity. You keep asking for what is in alignment with you and your true core soul purpose and potential. Okay. When it gets confusing, when you're uncertain, you just ask for the truth. You ask for the clarity and you give it space. You trust and have faith that as long as you are willing to look at the truth, you're going to get the truth. And when it comes to you, allow yourself to receive it and process it so that you're able to know how to make your next move. Because if we actually know the truth, even if it's uncomfortable, at least we're willing to be walking in our life with our eyes wide open. And if part of that foundation is faulty, then it's okay. We want to remove that brick and get a new one that's not going to collapse our house, right? So it's okay that we're taking our time. It's important. But as you're sorting through the puzzle, okay, and you start to find the pieces that fit, you start with the outer edges, right? Most of us start with the outer edges, and then you start to work from the corners or the top or the bottom. You get what I mean? You work kind of from the outside in because it makes it easier because you're looking at the pieces. I'm guessing at least this is kind of how I do puzzles. I don't know. You let me know if you do it different, but go with me because this was what my higher self was showing me would be a helpful analogy. Okay. But when we're doing it, we're working on all the edges, we're working on all of the foundation, the perimeter, the container, right? That we're going to house the whole picture in. But it takes time and it might feel like we're not getting anywhere at the beginning because we can't see the picture. We can't necessarily see where it's headed. But that's kind of the point. All you really need to know is where to find the next piece of your puzzle. What is the next step that you want to take right now? What is going to lead you towards where you want to get right now, today, tomorrow? And if you don't have a one next step answer in this moment, that's okay. Now you know what to ask for. What is my next step? I only need to know the next step. You might know exactly where you want to get, but you really only need to know the very next step. Her next step is to get pulled all the way onto shore. Once she gets there, once that boat lands on shore, then I'm sure, she's going to have to figure out how to get off the boat with her bags, right? And then figure out, okay, now where's my shelter? Who's meeting me on the beach, right? So, but first she has to get to shore. And I'm sure she's thinking about the other steps as she's getting pulled on shore. But as she's present in the moment, her first priority is to get to the shore. Okay. So as we allow ourselves to take things one step at a time, instead of trying to figure out every step out into the future, two things happens. One, it pulls our energy into the present where we're most powerful, number one. And number two, we're not trying to figure out the future all the way, which is actually opening us up and our future up to even better potentials than what we can imagine right now. Sit with that, please, because we think that we know how we're going to get there. But what we're trying to project into the future is only based on what we know in the present. But by the end of today, you're going to have information, more information than you did in this present moment right now as you listen to me. So to try to figure out the future to that nth degree when you don't have all the information along the path will actually limit and potentially frustrate you and potentially limit how you're going to get to where you want to go. But if we allow ourselves to be more present and we learn how to get comfortable in that, it is both marrying our surrender and our logic and our stability because we're stably present in the physical moment, which is where we have power. Okay. Your energy and your body in the present moment is the present. Your presence in the present is the present. You feel me? It's the gift. Because when you're here and you're embodied with exactly what's happening for you in this moment, you're gathering as much information and intelligence that you can in the moment. So even if you're working on something from the past, bring it into the boat with you into the present moment. Work with it, focus on it, give it your attention. When you're done with it, put it back where it belongs and get yourself back into the present. You're thinking about the future? Cool. Bring the future into the present moment with you. Write out your plans, write out your blueprint, process how you want to feel, process some of the elements that you would like to bring into your future, but let go of controlling how it's going to happen. Let go of controlling every little detail. Okay. Open up to some of the details. Allow yourself to co create with your highest potential, but also be open to something better. You don't have to pigeonhole yourself into thinking it's going to be a very certain specific way because there's probably a lot more gorgeousness coming down the road that we haven't learned about yet. Okay. So as we learn this process of being present, even if we're thinking about the future, right? You hear about the power of now, right? Yes, that is powerful, but we are humans and we're here to grow and evolve. So our future is important, and what we want to create for our future is an important aspect of our growth. So we still have to honor and acknowledge it. But when we bring it into our present and focus on it, it empowers it in a different way versus it constantly pulling on us out of the present moment. Because I don't know about you, but there was times in the past I was so focused on, well, if I do X, Y, and Z in the future, I'll be able to be happy or I'll be able to accomplish this or that. So there was this constant push and pressure to run to the future, but it wasn't really happening. There was always just more pressure and pushing into the future to get where I wanted to go. But then I've learned, like, no, be here right now, even while you're dreaming about the future, because this is where you're actually creating it. You're not creating it being ungrounded, trying to run to get somewhere that's not present yet. Be present, dream about your future. Okay. Let your future inform your present and your present inform your future. Learn from your past. Allow your experiences of the past to inform your present to some degree, but also know that everything you've experienced in the past is not going to play out exactly the same in your present or into your future if you're healing, if you're growing, if you're learning. So it's good information to have, but it's also good to kind of detach from it and to detach from what the experience was, but allowing yourself to keep the wisdom of what you learned. Okay. But you don't have to stay attached to the pain and the suffering and the fears. Let those go. Keep the wisdom. You see what I mean? So allow all of your experiences to inform you of what you want to create, But right now, the work is about learning how to dance with all of those parts of you, your internal feminine, your internal masculine, your inner child, your higher self, your human self, your logic, your intuition. Like I said, all of those pieces, there's so much more. There's so much depth to you. And allow yourself to get to know all of those parts of you. Okay. And it's like, as those pieces come together, you're embodied, you're stable, you're strong on the earth, but you're also allowing your light to shine. You're allowing yourself to receive your higher intuitive information, and you're embodying more and more of it every day. It's a process. This is not something that you're meant to wake up and know in an instant. Although intellectually, there may be things that you absolutely 100% understand completely intellectually and spiritually. But embodying them and making them a part of your day to day life is the practice and the muscle that we are building. Okay. Because like I said, there's a lot of things we can understand. I'm sure many of you have experienced this. I know that I have, hands down. I could understand exactly the concepts and the energy of who I wanted to be. But then I had all this trauma and hurt and pain inside of me that I had to work with and clean up and heal and nurture so that I actually could embody the things that I was wanting and that I understood spiritually and intellectually. Okay. So I'm sharing that because this is what we're doing. We can know it, but we're rewriting our ability to embody because for centuries, humanity has been taught to suppress and ignore their truth. Suppress, ignore, deny your feelings. Suppress, ignore, deny your health, your truth, your intuition. Okay. It doesn't even matter why. At this point, it doesn't even matter at this exact moment why. We can go into that another day. Maybe it will matter at some point. Maybe we need to know to help us let it go. That's fine. But in this moment for this video today, we're just going to say, you know what? It doesn't have to be my present or my future. I don't have to continue to agree to that idea, that conditioning. I don't have to suppress who I truly am. I don't have to deny what I want or how I feel or what my abilities are. Because some of the biggest things I've realized as the deeper I've got onto this path is everything is connected. We've been taught that nothing is connected. I mean, even, you know, you go places and you go to see different people for different things, which I get, and that's fine because they have a specialty, but it all works together. You know, what we put into our body affects how our emotions are, how we handle our emotions affects how our physical body feels. Uh, what we're doing in following our purpose or our career affects how our financial world is. Our financial prosperous world affects our health physically, emotionally, spiritually, our relationships. All of those things are interconnected. And we didn't have all of the information that we needed to truly be sovereign, healthy, and free, living in our fullest potential in the past. But we are getting there right now. That's where we're moving. Okay. That's why we're rewriting and recreating and stabilizing in the new foundation. That's why sometimes it feels confusing, like you have one foot in one world and one in the other, because we are literally building the new brick by brick while we're taking down the old brick by brick. But it allows us to continue to live and learn in the most beneficial way for the most amount of humans right now. Okay. I feel like this is a super lot of information. So I want to leave it there and let you guys really absorb and sit with that and feel into that as you're releasing any of the things you're ready to let go of as we complete the end of this year, and thinking about the new seeds that you want to plant or the bricks you want to build with as you're moving into the new energies in the new year. Okay. Let yourself just kind of absorb this and sit with this. Watch it a few times if you need be. Um, I would love to hear from you as always. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day and a happy new year. All right, loves. Talk to you soon. Bye.